We had one question that popped in over the week from a lawn care company, actually, that they had asked, what are the first things an owner should be handing off? And so what I'm going to guess is that it's a owner-operator.
Yes.
And so what are the first things that we should be handing off, making that transition?
Well, I think there's phases and evolutions to this, because as we grow, we have to continue to hand off and keep going. But I don't want you to necessarily start thinking about handing off the things that you just don't like, right? And where should you start handing off things and instead of saying, what do I not like, thinking about where should I start handing off things or tasks that don't really require me.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that we ask ourselves the question, is it what absolutely requires my experience, my relationships, or my decision-making?
Yeah.
Because when we think about handing things off, there are 3 buckets that we can look at. We can look at admin work, we can look at operational work, and we can look at decision-making work. Admin work is, scheduling, emails, customer follow-up, maybe it's invoicing, or simple organization of the business, like admin work, general admin. Like,
yeah.
If your Google Drive isn't organized, maybe your admin should be working on that.
Yeah.
Admin work.
It's funny.
If you're in a real office, the admin would be filing the papers in the file system.
Yeah. No, I know. That's a great point. And, to that effect, I was just on a call with somebody yesterday, and they were talking about branching out into different verticals. They were going to restructure to really tap into like 1 or 2 other verticals, but it was straddling 2 different locations. It was a lot of work, more so from the owner. But they had some assistants, they had some virtual assistants. And so I was like, why don't you go ahead and get the brain dump and of all the things that you got to do, dump it into Leia and then say, great, can you go ahead and start to work piece by piece through this and let them fill in the 80%. And then you can go ahead and put your finishing touch and polish.
Well, yep, that's my 585. Wait, no, 580 15. No, I'm sorry, 1585 rule. I'm dyslexic. Where I give them 15% of the vision, the things to do. They work on the team does the 80%, and then I take that 5% for coaching.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the 3 buckets that you can look at where work is being performed. Then we have our repeatable operations, right? Work where
I call that day-to-day.
Or day-to-day work, where we're sending estimates, maybe we're ordering supplies, maybe we're requesting like Google reviews, reports, maybe employee onboarding. Those are the things that like repeat, some day-to-day stuff. And you have to say, if it's repeatable, it's teachable, right? If it's repeatable, it's teachable. And if it's teachable, it shouldn't depend on me. I could almost be a poet. And then you have the decision-making bucket. Right? This is where many of us owners get stuck. They're it's the harder work, the harder handoff. And so it never gets handed off because there's decisions that need to be made, right? And the employee still has to ask, how do I do this? What do you want me to do? Should I approve this? And that necessarily is not delegation, right? It's still dependency. There's still dependency on you.
Yeah.
And so the goal is to gradually transfer, we talked about this the other day, transfer decision-making by creating great rules. One of Chris's favorite words, guardrails or bumpers. So do you know when you go bowling and you're a kid and the bumpers pop up? And you have to ask yourself, do you have those guardrails, those bumpers in your business so that you can control that the ball's going to at least hit one of the pins and not go in the gutter?
Yeah. Michelle, that's great. They're not just for kids.
No, they're not. And so we've learned these bumpers a long time ago. We call them either guardrails or bumpers or guardrails on the road so that you don't veer off into the side of the mountain. And so, where Leia kind of fits into this is you can really start to answer those questions inside. And Chris talked about a really cool feature that we didn't share with anybody today.
We had planned for it. We talked about it.
It's just like sometimes you forget you made it. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. We planned for it. We talked about it. We did it. We built it. We shipped it.
But we didn't share it.
We forgot it.
So there's a really cool feature inside of the agents that it will make you a microplay. It will make you the process based off of the agent. There's a button down there. We just didn't share it with anybody. It's been there. So if you're working with one of the agents, you can say, hey, make me a microplay off this.
Yeah. So for example, we have the Sell It strategist, the one that actually helps you in 4 different modes to drill down to analyze your sales calls or your sales pitch. If you're going through that process, or even maybe it's your somebody in your office or your VA, is they go and they do the drills and they're like, oh, no, this didn't work. This is what you did wrong, but this is what you did right. You can go ahead and say, great, make me a microplay from this. And then Leia will go ahead and generate it, and you'll see a little button pop up that says add microplay. You can click it and you can choose where you want to put it. So that way, as you're going through this drilling, talking through the agents, you can now just get it in there, lock it in, brain dump it, and you're good to go.
Yes. So I'm trying to bring up something. My computer's being glitchy. I want to share something with you, because the next thing I was going to share with you guys is, so we have those 3 buckets. Remember, if it's teachable, if it's repeatable, it's teachable. And if it's teachable, I shouldn't be doing it. And so one of our biggest mistakes that we make is we often think that we need to hire someone to take stuff off our plate. That's where I got stuck, because that's the old way of thinking. And I'll be honest, right now we live in a day and age, sound like an old person, where it's out with the old and in with the new, the way of thinking. And instead, we should be thinking, I should hire someone to increase capacity of the business, not just reduce my workload. And when it goes to what should an owner start handing off, right? So when I go to hire someone, an assistant, an admin, someone, I shouldn't be looking at someone to offset my workload. I should be looking for someone that can increase the capacity of the business, or even of myself.
Yeah.
Because those are 2 different things. So when someone builds a system or documents a process or improves something, you're creating capacity, more capacity for everyone. You're not just giving yourself a break. And there was a statement, I was trying to find it, but darn it, I can't get I can't get Facebook to load. And that statement, this is a statement, someone sent it to me because they're like, I seen this and I thought of you, and it was 100% true. And I want to read this to you guys, is that every system you build is a decision you no longer have to make. Every decision you don't have to make is willpower you get to keep. And every unit of willpower you keep is available for something that actually matters. So a system is a willpower savings account. I love that.
Yeah.
So from here, the takeaway is like, what should I be handing off as an owner? Here's your microplay. For 1 week, you can keep a simple time audit of everything you do. And can you drop the time audit in? It's in the link is in the sheet. So before you can hand off something, you actually have to know, what are you doing? If I was to ask you what you're doing every day, you'd be like, I did some of this and some of that, a little of this, a little of that. And so my suggestion for you is to to do a time audit on yourself, and for a week straight. And again, it's only I can do this, anyone can do this, or here's a new twist on the time audit, or AI can do this. When I originally did the time, so times have changed, right? We have to go with the times. I just had a meeting with my marketing team, and she's on here. I can see her. Rexy's on here. And I said, Rexy, we have to, because she's super structured, she's super organized, but that could also hurt you because the times have changed, and we have to literally, who has read 10x is better than 2x? Anybody? Yeah. And his statement that we have to literally commit suicide with the current version of ourselves to 10x our output, our results. And so I had this conversation with Rexy and Marilyn that we actually have to literally commit suicide with the way we used to work in the marketing team, how we used to do things, the system, the structure, we have to scrap it. And we have to actually say, that's the old way. What is the new way? And so with this time audit sheet, we used to say, only I could do it. Anyone can do it. Wait, only I could do it. Anyone can do it. What was the third one? I can't even remember.
It was with, oh gosh.
If you pull it up, it'll
I know. Multiple people can do it.
Only me.
Yeah.
Anyone, multiple, or only me. But now the world has changed. So it's only I, anyone, or AI can do it. I think we need to stop thinking about things in the old way and start thinking about things. If it's a repeatable task, or even if it needs to be built, how can AI do this for me? It needs to be a new bucket in all of our categories instead of running to think we either need to do it ourselves or hiring someone to do it. Not that that's going to take jobs, but that's going to create different jobs.
Yeah. And I will say this is, we've seen this evolution with our own team. And when we started to introduce, and we actually held a state of AI with all of our team members. And what we talked about was the transition of where we currently stand with and Libby shared with this as well, more so with business, but the linear model versus the scalable model versus the exponential model.
So right now in marketing, maybe not right this second, but like 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were doing everything in a linear model, a 1-for-1. Go make me a Canva graphic manually. But now we're like, okay, but we need things at a faster rate.
Yeah.
Or a higher execution. And so in marketing, you have to think, am I still doing it linear, 1-for-1? Am I running or making a graphic for a cell, making the verbiage for a cell? Or can I now, what's the exponential model of that?
Yeah. So, and I will say this, I'm going to call her out, is that Rexy is a great example of this, of being able to take what was typically the linear model, and she was able to 10x
Yes,
her output. I think we changed, like, it was like Lexi or
something.
Something very simple. It's funny. But she's an example of getting to that next level. But now and again, we just met and we talked about it. And it's now we're ready for the next 10x. And so 10 times 10, 100x the output, which is a scary thing to think about.
And that's in the book. We call that crystallizing. We're putting pressure on her. We're talking about it right now. We're putting pressure on her, and we do this with everyone, like throughout. We're putting an extreme amount of pressure on her, and we know that. I'm telling her, hey, I'm going to put some pressure on you, Rexy, because I know that you can get to the next level. Mm-hmm. And that's in the book, and we call it crystallizing, because either we're going to break her or she's going to turn into a diamond. And you can literally see your team rise up to the next level.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So I think the next question really bleeds into this, and it's a really great question.
Give me a second here. I see an anonymous zebra or quagga on the sheet. So I'm glad that you guys are looking at it and pulling that sheet.
It's the original resource from the book. And so that's, like I said, change that. Only me, anyone, AI.
All right. So I got another question loaded up here and from a roofer. The question was, why do employees resist the systems and accountability?
So, how many of us have felt the friction that if we create a system, then nobody follows it? Yeah. Or if we create a system, we get resistance. And if you do go from being unstructured to structured, you probably will lose people, because we attracted the unstructured, right?
Maybe it was more relaxed or lackadaisical.
Relaxed, but there are certain personality types that thrive in certain environments. So why do my employees resist things, my systems, or resist accountability? And I think the question is the question isn't why do my employees resist it? It's why are my systems creating resistance? So, because there's a big difference. Are my employees resisting it, or is my system creating the resistance? Because most employees don't resist structure, right? They resist confusion, inconsistency, and they resist systems that make their job harder instead of easier. So as an owner, sometimes we build systems for us and for management. We're not actually building the systems for people that are actually doing the work. And that's where, honestly, the book came from, One Layer Deep. I originally made microplays for my cleaning technicians because they weren't going to read a whole page system. They weren't going to read an SOP. And that's where essentially One Layer Deep came from. And the original portal and everything I made was for my cleaning technicians.
Yeah. Because
for the love of God, I got tired of answering the same question. And it had to be so simple and so little TikTok-ish. And so here's the thing, and I'm going to say this phrase, and this does not demean my cleaning technicians at all, but this is a phrase we use in our life everywhere now, with our kids, with our tech team, with our marketing team. It has to be stupid simple. And not that anyone's stupid, it just has to be stupid simple. Because when you go to make something, you're like, is this stupid simple? Can a kindergartner follow it? Could Yaya follow it? And because if not, we can tend to make things. I mean, I've had people send me their systems, like their playbooks. They're like, Libby, can you look at this? And after like page 1, I'm like, I'm done. It's too long. After 15 pages, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm going to get, I'm going to give you an example or share it is, and I'm going to call him out, is Willie, with Leia, in teaching Leia to grasp the concept of stupid simple. What he ended up doing was to his daughter, who's what, about
She's the same age
5
as you,
to
yeah.
8? Okay, so she's just about 8. But he shared and taught and explained, shared how Leia works, what Leia is, all that stuff. And that was his test to see, okay, did she get it or was it too complicated?
And
If
she's
not,
8.
do it again. And so for him, that's how he worked through that.
Yeah, and I think that's a great test for your systems. Like if you have grandkids or kids, can my 10-year-old understand this? Could they follow it? So if a system adds like 5 steps with no obvious benefit to the employee, they're naturally going to push back.
Yeah.
And that's why with microplays and the one-step actions, it's a one step that gets them to the result that they're looking for. So it's micro wins. It's micro, like, yay, they got the answer. They know what product to use. They know how to, go into a customer's house. They know how to, so it's the micro and making it very, very simple. Because people don't just wake up one day and say, oh, how can I avoid how can I avoid accountability? They don't. People actually want to do a good job. They want to know if they're doing a good job. But accountability only works if there are 3 things that are true and clear, right? And so it'd be expectations are clear. The people have the tools to succeed, and success is measured consistently. And if it's missing any of those, then accountability starts to feel unfair. It feels like you're picking on them. And so where most of us go wrong is that, we think the employee, that they don't know what they don't know. Like employees think that, I didn't know what I didn't know. And the owner's like, but I said this before. Remember how many times I'm like, but I've already told you once.
Yeah.
And we think by like telling them once or doing it once is good enough. But, we've talked, and you can say, well, we've talked about this before, but the gap isn't the accountability problem. The gap is in communication and a systems problem. Because again, just because we tell somebody one time doesn't mean they even absorbed it.
Yeah.
So with the systems, you want to make sure that they're clear, because you can't hold someone accountable to a process that doesn't exist, that changes every week. That, let me tell you what, this is the big one for you guys. It can't constantly change.
Yeah.
I know my marketing team's probably going to strangle me right now because I've changed that stuff 100 times. But I want to give you an example. My cleaning technician portal has not changed in 5 years. Why? Because it is a repeatable, teachable process. How we enter a home, how we take care of pets, like where do we park? How do we clean? What products do we use? Maybe the product changes, but not the actual type of product. Maybe the brand changes. It has not changed in 5 years. Every year we review it. And the only thing that we've had to change is like, we used to use WhatsApp and now we use Google Chat.
And that's more on the office side anyways.
But in our playbook, that's mentioned for our cleaning technicians.
Yeah.
But it hasn't changed. The expectations and the standards are very clear and they're set and they do not change. So let's go back to hold someone accountable. The process it has to exist. It can't change every week. It lives somewhere and not in the owner's head. And it doesn't depend on who's asking, right? Consistency creates confidence and confidence creates accountability.
Yeah. So, one thing I was going to say was, I think you shared this in the book as well, was you McDonaldized your delivery of service.
And I taught McDonald's. I could reteach that. I haven't taught it in a long time. And everybody's like, but I hate McDonald's. Believe me, I don't eat it either. But it's like, how do you McDonald's your service, your business, even your life? You should see how boring me and Chris are.
Oh, it's beautifully boring.
So I want to give you an example. Go get me that right over there. So we have our 4 events and we're getting ready to do Chicago. And so I'm McDonaldizing. I need to be able to see the screen. I'm McDonaldizing everything to the coffee. So at our events, we supply coffee and food. So I have McDonaldized a system for the coffee so that we can travel with 3 coffee makers so that we know exactly how much it's going to cost us for the coffee. I don't have to cater it. And the coffee machines have been ordered and they have their own travel cases now. And they're orange to travel in for our live events that we do, because we're doing 4 more in 2027. The dates they're already picked. So McDonaldizing, it's not that you have to eat McDonald's, but you know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I have to say, by the way, I felt really good doing that. I felt like a male version of Vanna White.
Vanna White.
Yeah.
And so over here, we have like the whole setup's like, how can we structure it so that it's consistent, it's the same every time, all the time, because you guys also want to know what you're going to expect. It was funny because we had Drew be a speaker for us, and Drew sent us his PowerPoint back all blue. And I said, no, Marilyn's like, nope, it's got to be orange.
Try it again.
Like, it's okay if you keep your logo, but it's got to be orange. It's got to be consistent. We're McDonaldizing. You have to use these things this way. You can add your things in it, but you can't change them.
Those are our bumpers.
Yeah. So I think it's a really great topic because I'm going to tell you right now, including myself still, we're all overcomplicating the systems. We're overcomplicating it. Keep it stupid, simple. Right. Wait, no, what's KISS? Keep it simple.
Stupid.
Stupid. No, silly.
Keep it simple. Stupid.
Yeah. And so how can you fit Leia into this? Use her as your operational brain.
Yes.
Talk to her as your operational brain, get it in there. And the second somebody asks you a question, go throw that in there and say, oh, ask Leia. Oh, ask Leia. One of the biggest things I taught is that to get people to follow a process, and I'm watching Chris do it right now with our own team. He's forcing them to use Leia. Go put it in the quick links. Go, because you have to break the habit. And so for me, when I first started this, I had to force them to use it even if it wasn't ready. It's never going to be ready. But I had to force them into it saying, oh, that's in the portal. Oh, that's in the portal. Like whatever you want to call Leia, your ops system, your brain, company playbook. Oh, and if it's not in there, don't answer them. Run and put it in there.
Yeah.
Because it isn't, you could have this, and I've done this for people. We've worked with businesses. We've made them entire processes, everything beautiful. But if you don't force adoption, it's worthless.
Yes.
And you still won't get your freedom. You'll still be held hostage by your company. It is a culture of systems. It is a culture. It isn't a thing that once you get it, it fixes everything. It's a culture of systems. I'm going to make t-shirts. Hashtag Ask Leia. I already like, because that is where freedom comes from. That is where that willpower savings account will come from, start to collect up and come from.
I had one more thing I wanted to really lean into here, and it really goes along with what we're going to share at the people event, the build room.
I'm sorry, I was hunching over. I'm like, sit up straight. Where's your mom when you need her?
I know. But it was what you said about systems fix accountability. It fixes the way that people feel about the company, in the company. And where I'm gonna say, like, I've seen this and experienced it in the past, is there's two different routes to go. The first one is it's the hard route because we're not used to it, and it's building the systems to fix the issue, which is people, transparency, adoption, culture. But where I see the other route go is that people see this discomfort in their employees, and they go to the route of giving more, adding more bonuses, trying to sensationalize the job versus fixing the system underneath of it. Because it makes sense. Like you feel like that's the solution.
Yeah.
But how do you, it's that balance of, which way, how can you pin that down or which way to go when somebody is just like uncomfortable?
Nobody likes change. And for me, the way I did it was you lead by example. Right? It's that old philosophy. We hear every coach and mentor say it. I started with leading by example. So if they ask me a question, I would go get, and the permalinks are almost ready. They're almost ready. I need them ready. Because so Leia isn't truly one layer deep yet because I can't answer their question with a link.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be ready maybe by the end of the week. And multi-tenant login is supposed to be ready as well by the end of the week. That way, if someone wants to add, like I can have 3 accounts and log in and look at all 3. I have 3, but I have separate logins. But nobody likes change. But the way I did it is I led by example. When someone asked a question, I would go get the answer for them, but from the resource, from the portal. I wouldn't simply answer their question. I'd be like, oh, look, I found it inside of here. Look, it's inside of Leia. Like, oh, it's inside the portal.
Yep.
And lead by example and making sure you're using it as well, making sure you've built your site out as well, your quick links. So when you talk, it is a culture of systems. It is a culture of structure and not a culture of chaos and randomness, because we too are, I'm sorry, I love you owners. I'm one too, but we're also hot walking disasters.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But it's just getting you to slow down as well. And we hear the Alex Hermosis of the world, right? Saying business is actually really simple at its core, like super, super simple and super fundamental. We're just all out there trying to overcomplicate it. Buying more stuff because we're looking for the thing to fix it.
Yeah.
We're looking for the band, I'm going to get this one more thing and it's the thing I need. It's going to fix it. And we probably will learn for sure, but it's not going to fix it because fixing it takes you sitting down, doing the boring work. So simple. Who here's been to one of my events and it's so simple that you can't get it at first. You're just
am I doing this right?
Am I doing this right?
You click that button.
Click that. Yeah. Oh, you're done. And it's so simple that we're thinking it can't be this easy. Wait, no, it can't be this easy because every guru out there has told us that, oh, it's way more complicated.
It's behind this magic box, this lock and key.
But then you get the Alex Hermosis of the world and I've read his book. They're like fourth grade level books.
Yeah.
They're very simple.
With fourth grade level pictures too.
And they're great though. And he's the first one who's going to tell you that business is very simple at its core, extremely simple and basic.
Yeah.
And so I think for us owners, how do we get that adoption? Is we gotta do the stuff we don't want to do. I'm rebuilding some stuff and organize it for the office. And I don't want to do it. And I put it off. And then I'm like, oh, I just need to go get me a hotel room, lock myself in there and get it done. I know that's what I have to do to get it done.
It's our 2-day sprint.
Yeah. And
locking yourself in the room.
You also have to ask yourself, this is because I asked my marketing team this, I've asked the tech team this, you need to ask yourself this. In this day and age, how long should it take me to do something now with AI? That is the question. Time has compressed. The rate at which I need to learn how to do something has compressed. I can get access to anything. And my question is, do I need to be on an hour-long teach on something, or could I just ask an AI and get the answer in 5 seconds and read it in 5 minutes? Time is compressing. And so then therefore, if the answers are that easy to get, the question is, how long should it take me now to build? Should it still be the old fashioned way? Where I'm working on that's also why I think, we heard all this about EOS, right? Years ago, traction, EOS with the 90-day rocks. Well, I can tell you from a business standpoint, very few of my software friends and business friends are following that anymore, the 90 days, because the rate at which stuff can be done, they're taking a 2-week sprint and they're compressing it in 2 days.
Yeah.
Tech now. That's from a tech standpoint. They're saying what used to take us 2 weeks to do, we can now do it in 2 days. So this is a great question to ask your team. That's the linear type of marketing that I was just having a discussion with today with my marketing team. You have to ask yourself, am I and my team, are we still operating in the linear way of doing things, creating processes, doing marketing, creating graphics? Or are we doing it in the exponential way?
Yeah, that's great. And I wanted to share, just summing that up is...
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I get stuck doing it in the old fashioned way because that's where my brain goes. That's the habit I have. And I'm like, why? I asked Chris, why the hell am I doing it this way? Oh my God, I just spent I got it done in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I was working on it for 2 hours. I got it done in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
When I changed the way I was thinking.
Yeah. But it was with that state of AI and what you said with the linear model is your team can't be linear. They must be exponential.
So we know what linear is, right? It's a 1-for-1. And we know that especially if you're in cleaning, it's linear. If I want more money, I need to hire more employees. And if I have more employees, then I need more management. Software is not linear. Software is exponential. And so you have to ask yourself, are we operating in the linear model still internally with scheduling? We were just on a call with Summer. She wanted to run by AI scheduling through. She's got this AI scheduling bot, not a bot, but just a prompt.
Right.
She goes, oh my God, look at this. And so that's thinking exponentially versus continuing to do it manually 1-for-1. And I love this topic because for me with software, I know the exponential model, but being a cleaning business owner, it's where can we make more money? How can we increase our profit? We still need people to clean the house, but it's can we get faster with the scheduling, with the sales, with the office, with the systems, with the answers to the solution, the marketing?
Yeah.
That is where we start to break it down, and we don't have to be linear there. Just because we own a linear type of model of business doesn't mean we have to operate that way.
And just being careful that there are certain things that if you take it away from the one-to-one relationship, it could break things if you take the people aspect out of it.
There are still some places where you still need it.
Yeah.
Great topic. But that's where you're going to increase your profit and your speed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know we have to pay really great wages for the technicians in the field, and we still have a hard time hiring them or keeping them. So you can't, if you want to increase your profit, it's hard to come from there unless, you do a price increase. But if you're paying a percentage, they continue to get that price increase percentage. But it comes from internally operations. Can I hire more people to have less management? That's actually my whole goal with Leah, is that she is the middleman operationally. She is the middleman between your people in the field and the people in the office. She has the answers. She's your COO.
Yeah. And I love this because I talked to somebody yesterday, and so Leah has in the settings the company DNA, which is all about really the way that your business works, everything down to what's the customer phone number, what's the employee phone number. And there's this information that you can put in, and I wanted to position it, for somebody coming in. Let's just say that you were onboarding somebody in your company, is you go through and do all this work and you teach them, you work them through, you onboard them, you have them learn all the stuff about your business. Typically they say that it's a 90 days to get somebody fully up to speed to where they get it. They get your company, they understand it. And so if you were to onboard somebody new into your business, a COO, a general manager, whoever, it would take 90 days to do that. But if you took 90 minutes, I say 90 minutes, with Leah and the company DNA, and you filled that out, you've just shortcutted 90 days of effort to be able to give your team a general manager, an operations manager assistant. If you have an operations manager, it'll make their job infinitely easier.
Yeah. Now you can think of Leah as like an assistant, because she's still growing and learning, and eventually she will be the COO of your company. That's my goal.
Yeah. Not taking that away, but making it, again, accelerating it.
Yep. Love the topic. It's great. And I think the challenge today is when you go to do something, I want you to stop and think, can I do this different? Can I use a tool? Can I use AI? How can I accelerate the outcome? How can I speed it up? Because I gave Rexy a challenge. She's on here. I told her she's not allowed to make any new content. I gave her a challenge because marketing teams are always, and my son does our marketing. And I said, for the love of God, stop making new stuff. Just challenges. You're not allowed to make any new content. You can only make what we currently have better. So I want you to save time, because you don't need to make any content, make any reels, make any videos. How do you take what you have and you make it better? Because that will save her time on the creation side. So then how does she get better with the delivery, the CTA, the call to action, the verbiage? And how do you use AI to do that, to accelerate that outcome? But I think it's a great topic, because I still find myself, we were working through a project and we were doing it manually. And I said, oh my God, why are we doing this manually?
Like, hold up a minute.
Hold on a minute. I said, Chris, can I get AI to do this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so then why aren't we doing that? And so I think we're going to see that. And here's the fun but scary part, is that we live in a time where it is changing. But I do see young people coming in who have this mindset already, who are aging into becoming owner operators and business owners.
Yeah, because what was the average age of a
57 years old is the average age of a millionaire.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I got time. I got a lot of time, but is the average age of a millionaire. And I think that has nothing to do with product or service, it has everything to do with wisdom, right? And leadership skills and ability. But you're seeing people age in. And so this is a cleaning topic. I'm seeing a lot of new young cleaning business owners pop up, and they're extremely tech savvy.
You're talking about like 18 years old.
Yeah. I actually have a cousin who wants to open a cleaning business, and she's tech savvy. And I find it interesting. And we're going to see that shift and the new people coming in. And are we over here still thinking in that old fashioned linear model?
Yeah. And so what used to take 40 years to create nuggets of wisdom,
they can get that wisdom now in 5 seconds.
Now that wisdom is handed to you,
but they don't know how to implement it.
Right.
Having
and so there's
wisdom and using it and understanding are two different things.
It's so the nuggets, but you still have to apply it in a certain way. And
yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting evolution, but that's my challenge for you. Say, do your time audit, and then anyone or AI can do this. AI can do anything. We call it an SAP. So it's a standard automated procedure instead of an SOP. It's also in the book, One Layer Deep. It's an SAP. What can we, if this is a standard automated procedure, how do we automate it? Can it be repeated over and over and over? That's why I refuse to change softwares for my cleaning company, because I've made so many of them in there, but they'd have to all be rebuilt. But we have something coming. That's why I've been waiting. And so we will launch, you guys will hear Leia Sales, which is the brand new Leia powered Cell Convert Clean, which will connect to your Leia account for quoting and estimates and light scheduling and marketing automations.
Yeah.
But it will be really cool because she will be connected to your actual Leia RAG environment, which is your Leia brain. So Leia will be in the middle, and she'll be connected to your recruiting, and she'll be connected to your sales, like your quotes and your sales. And that way there's one place that you're building intelligence that will then influence anything you want to connect it to.
So it's accelerating the outcome.
Yes. So exciting.
Awesome.
All right. We've been on for a while. Yes. We're coming up at 6 minutes till. Any last questions, Chris, or are we good to go?
No, I think we are good to go.